on Curiosity Stream. He allows them their riches.
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
In exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimate.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the oligarchs. And World War II Normandy. An obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Stephen Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Today we chose Mr. Roscoe D. Cooper III of the Henrico School Board from Henrico, Virginia. Now, at a recent school board meeting, Roscoe had to call up the names of people that requested to make public comment. Like anything, school boards across the country are going through their thing, but if you want to make a public comment, to keep it somewhat sane, you submit your name in advance. They will call your name. You go up, you state your case, and they move on, right? It's a real simple process. We're going to play a little audio from this particular school board meeting. See if you can find why we're toasting our friend Roscoe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Eileen Dover. Don Kiddick. Wayne Kerr.
Yeah. In case you missed this, the names he called, dude, if you watch the video.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
This dude is so smooth, he legitimately has no idea. You can tell he's bored, he's tired, typical school board meeting, but it was Phil McCracken. It repeats everyone's name twice, so he moves on. Went from Phil McCracken to Eileen Dover to Wayne Kerr. Mike, I see that you eliminated Suk Madik. He called for that. Ophelia McCalk. And then Don Kiddick. So again, he's calling for Phil McCracken, Eileen Dover, Wayne Kerr, Suk Madik, Ophelia McCalk, and Don Kiddick. And he has absolutely no idea, man. God, I could not believe how long it went on. I'm like, no. How does no one know? But anyway, man, here's to him for making school board meetings interesting.
Good times.
So we pour this booze, and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola, bichola!
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Stephen Throwhill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
All right, Nick, you understand how this here game is played?
Drugs.
All right. Drugs, all right. All right, my friend, here is your story. A man who drove after using drugs hit at least one car and then drove on the wrong side of I-35 on the service road. This was right around midnight. The Denton Police Department responded to a call about a hit and run on South I-35. The report says the suspect hit an SUV and a sign before driving off the road. Officers took on information from the victim. Now, another caller shortly after that reportedly They saw the driver determined to be who they determined to be the same one from the hit and run, who was going between 90 and 120 miles an hour in the wrong direction, again, on I-35. The driver eventually crashed, and police found him lying in the grass nearby. Now, he was lying in the grass because, according to him, he tried to run away, but he fell instead. The 36-year-old suspect admitted to taking drugs that day and said the same thing later at a hospital. According to the report, he had bloodshot eyes as well as dilated pupils, and he had a hard time keeping his eyes open. He reported that he was, quote, very high. And when they asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, how intoxicated are you, he swung for the fences and said, oh, full 10. So nothing, at least he's honest. While he was taken to the hospital, later booked into the city jail, he was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated, an accident involving damage to a vehicle, and duty on striking a fixture, whatever the hell. Anyway, the question is, what drug was he on? Heroin, PCP, cocaine, or meth?
What does Ted think?
I mean, just based on the fact that he can't keep his eyes open, kind of makes me think heroin. But he was active at some point, and he's still talking.
I mean, apparently he talked the whole time. You know, he spilled beans like, you caught me, here's the situation.
But his eyes were still always asleep.
It's bloodshot, pupils dilated, but had a hard time keeping his eyes open, yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be like the end of a meth bender. I don't know.
What state? What state is this?
Denton, I believe. It's either Florida or Virginia, I think. I'm not 100% on that. But you know what I'll do? I'm going to go ahead and Google it.
I mean, I do think it's either going to be heroin or meth.
I'll take meth if you take heroin.
All right.
You know what? It's in Texas.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to go meth.
All right, I'm going to go heroin.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm going to go cocaine because it seems like the opposite of everything.
Hold on, Nick, you said heroin?
Meth.
He's meth.
Oh, you're meth.
Ted's heroin.
Ted is heroin.
I'm cocaine.
And you're cocaine. All right, there we go.
We're going to find out what this guy was on. Was it heroin, PCP, cocaine, or meth next?
That was a tease.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
What if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
99.9 KISW.
Category is drugs on profile. This we got a man who was driving on drugs. He was pulled over driving on the wrong side of the road. Would you say speeds between 90 and 100 miles an hour?
No, 90 and 120 miles an hour.
Okay. Yeah, he admitted he was pretty high. Question is, what was he on? Heroin, PCP, cocaine, or methamphetamine?
And to his credit, once he got busted, man, he was very forthcoming. Yeah. But, Nick, we posed this question to you, and all of our answers went all over the place. Nick, we will start with you. You went meth. A lot of people agreed with you, because anyone familiar with Denton, Texas, which apparently some of our listeners are, they said, dude, it is meth. There's no doubt that it is meth. However, in this case, it was not meth. But my understanding from the text, 9 times out of 10, it's meth. The Ted Smith, you went heroin.
Heroin.
And I'm thinking, you're probably thinking, all right, he couldn't close, or he couldn't keep his eyes open, right? You kind of tail into your stuff, so to speak. Not heroin.
Or the front end.
Miles, you went cocaine.
I did.
Which seems the least likely.
Okay. Yes.
So according to this guy, he did 7 grams of coke.
How much is that?
That is a lot.
Okay.
That's like 2 8 balls, isn't it?
Basically. And I think the reason he couldn't keep his eyes open, he had not done it. He did it early enough that he was probably at the tail end of his high. And at that point, your body's shutting down. Yeah. That's honestly it. Because once you hear his eyes are closing, I'm like, oh, I can't be cocaine. Oh, God, it's cocaine. Okay, yeah.
Now, for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
A lot of news going on in the sports world because it's cut down day for NFL teams.
Oh, yeah.
I'm stealing this from Adam Schefter. He tweeted it out earlier, but more cuts continue in Hollywood. So Mike Richards, right? We knew he was out as host of Jeopardy.
Yes.
But he said, hey, I'm still the executive producer for that, and I want to say for the Wheel of Fortune. Now he's out on that, too.
They got rid of him because he's too much of a distraction now.
Too much of a distraction now, and I guess, again, this wasn't new with this guy. Because the stuff on a podcast, I'm like, you're talking on a podcast that was years ago, right? Like we say all the time in the office. Like, there's stuff we all have all said on, not even on podcasts, on the air that nowadays you just can't say.
Right.
And it doesn't.
I mean, I'll stand by it, because more than likely we were joking. Here was where he went wrong. He's the executive producer on Jeopardy. No one knew who he was. No one knew his name. Because you're the executive producer. That's fine. You put yourself in the mix. You weren't wanted by people in the first place. And I'm not disparaging them that. People just like who they like as a host of Jeopardy. You put yourself in there, and people are already suspicious of that move to be the executive producer. No one knew who you were. And it's not that he did a bad job, but you certainly didn't do a better job than some of the other people that people like. So you put yourself out there, and once you put yourself out there, now people want to know who you are. So the things that he had said and or did, however you feel about it, that have been there for years for people to find out. But once you and again, he put himself in that position. Now people research it and you have all this backlash. Now you lost your gig as the executive producer of Jeopardy. If you had just taken in on, again, sometimes music industry, you listen to your audience. They kind of dictate. You don't have to listen to everything, but they'll certainly dictate what they like. And when it comes to the host of a show, that in the cosmic sense of things is completely unimportant and entirely irrelevant, this is a good time to serve up just something easy, something that people like, right? So whether it was LeVar Burton or whoever the hell they like, Aaron Rodgers, it didn't matter. But you put yourself there. No one knew who you were. They found out you're the executive producer, so we kind of understand your posturing and how you got there. Now people want to know who you are, and there's this crap. I don't care about his crap. But
the crew didn't even like him.
Right, but you brought this to you. All you needed to do was hire a host. You were never actually in the mix. You put yourself in the mix, and now you're here, and now you lost all your job. And look, I don't feel bad for him. Homie has a golden parachute. It's all good, but that's why all this came down. As opposed to just doing what you had said.
That's what I'm saying. Finally, after they filmed a few shows, the crew confronted him, confronted everybody else in charge, and was like, he shouldn't be the host.
Right, right. That's the thing. You shouldn't be the guy, and I get it. And look, if I were executive producer of Jeopardy, I might put myself there too. But the backlash that comes your way, you got to know you're walking into that.
And if you replace Ellen,
you also have a history of working on a radio show and doing entertainment. He was the executive producer for these shows,
right? Yeah, but I mean, Ellen. If someone replaced Ellen, they're not going to be worried too much about her character or his character. But with Alex Trebek, you're coming into a place where he's sacred. You know what I mean? He's I don't know. I just don't think
he could have been the worst guy, but the way
I will say I see both sides of it because it's not like Trebek was a household name before he got that job. So when he first took the job, I was like, I don't know, maybe he'll be fine. Now this stuff backed up to it doesn't help. I think the thing for Ellen is you're not really going to replace Ellen because there's already shows out there.
Sure,
Right.
Kelly Clarkson.
I was going to say, people already like Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
And Kelly Clarkson, like what you see is what you get, right? She's going through a divorce, has kids, like this and that. Like, I think the main thing with the Ellen thing was just like her whole brand was being everybody's buddy. And then when you're not that, like, it's okay. Everybody's going to have bad days, but that's why people are just like, really? And then the staff's like, oh yeah, she was a complete pain in the butt. It's kind of like what's happening with James Corden a little bit. Like, he's like Mr. Silly and this and that's like, that's not who you are.
But with Trebek, it was always a good story. Like, he did this. He saved a day. He saved 10
But even
babies,
before that, you say, like, no one knew who he was before Jeopardy, but that's part of the reason it's hard to follow up.
Yeah.
It's not like he stepped into something that was already established and did a good job. He made Jeopardy what it is, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that he hosted the way he did, and he was so stiff and sterile, and he never wavered off of, he calls you to task, right? So at first it turned people off, but then you started loving him for it. Like, hey, man, this guy, there's no BS with him, man. You're right or wrong, and he'll tell you if he thinks you're an idiot. It's like Simon Cowell. Everyone hated him. Now it's like you respect his opinion because he's the one person who you don't have to agree with him, but you don't doubt that he is speaking his truth.
But Trebek, I will say, Trebek also got helped out a ton. Look, I'm just saying, we didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
Like in the last 10 years with social media, like these stories have come out, the thing in the hallway. But also, I mean, like, that's kind of what the character is with Will Ferrell back in the day. Is that like, I don't know if people like Trebek or not. He was the host of Jeopardy. So when they're trying to find famous people to do it, it's like, do you need to be famous? Like, no. You don't really have to be.
That show does not need it.
Right.
But you're right, pre-social media, but it's like, hey, that's the world we live. You don't have to like it, but brother, that's where you're at.
I mean,
first of all, the bottom line is this. You're not going to replace Alex Trebek. No. and that's what some people need to just calm down with everything. Like, look, you're not going to find Alex Trebek. You didn't know him for years. When we did know him, we made fun of him and the way he talked to people. Now, we know now that he was a great dude. He did all this awesome stuff. So it's like, people on social media clamoring for like the next Alex Trebek. Like, you have no idea who that is.
You know who it would have been? I honestly believe that. I think the guy might be dead now. I'm not 100%. But James Lipton. Do you remember him?
Sure.
The guy that he was the same kind of guy. He would use words that you had to go look up, figure out what he's talking about.
Will Ferrell did an impression
with the inside the studio.
Inside the studio.
Inside, right. But he did a good job of that. But you also have to remember the times have changed. So where Alex Trebek, he was kind of like one of the last mainstays. Try to say this without sounding insulting, but I think everyone inherently knows this to be true. But before we started celebrating stupidity, and celebrating the idiots and the worst of us, it used to be you celebrated the best. You had Carl Sagan, Albert Einstein, you had someone like Alex Trebek, you go like, right, because that's the path we want to be in. People that show intellect, show some, then you get the Simple Life, the Kardashians, Real Housewives of, right? So,
yeah.
But those things are celebrated now. It's like, right. So a lot of the people that are famous, not everyone, but a lot of people that are famous, it has nothing to do with their intellect or their decency. It just has to be how much they're willing to put themselves out there.
Don't ruin Jersey Shore for me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, once things like that get big, you just have to understand that if this is where we're at, and it's okay, but if that's where we're at, then this is what we will get.
I watched the guy who was a producer, host of the show. He was not bad. But Ken Jennings was I mean, I'm not trying to make a hometown call, but he was really good. I thought he did a really good job. And he kind of earned it because he was one of the best players ever on the show. So whatever. I don't know.
No, he did a good job. Yeah. I thought he would suck, but I really did. Yeah. I thought, like, man.
You just don't like him.
Right, that's it. He doesn't have charisma.
Right. Who was the other guy?
Holzhauer, maybe?
Holzham. I don't know. I'm going to call him.
Do you think
I'm going to say goddamn Heisenberg, like an idiot. But the other guy that set a new record with Ken Jennings, like you could have him do it because he also knows the show. And Ken Jennings, I'm sure, would do a great job. And that's the thing too. That's what I'm going back to. Like, I don't know. For years, I watched Jeopardy, but like, I was never like, oh man, I love Alex Trebek. You were kind of like, God, he
facilitates it.
Yeah. So Ken Jennings could do that show, right? Just, I mean, as soon as he tried to host it, people were jumping on like, well, he tweeted that. It's like, well, folks, like, you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody that you go through all their stuff that didn't say something you don't like. And like, where, he's out, but some of the stuff people say in the past, I think it was, I'm stealing this from Seth Rogen, was like, look, I'm not going to apologize for jokes I made. He's like, they were fine in the time. Would I do them now? No. You got to adjust. But he's also like, they were funny and acceptable at the time. That's kind of It's kind of the way the world works, you know what I mean?
I mean, you go back and listen to Eddie Murphy's 2 stand-up albums, which I think are some of the most brilliant things in the world.
They're hilarious.
I mean, 50% of that material's got to go for Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't do it now.
Robin Williams. I mean, almost 75% of his material's got to go. Because he, took shots at everybody and would go in character.
Sure.
That's
why he was funny.
It was why he was funny then, but I'm not sure that he could, it would fly now.
Yeah, like we always talk about that goofy show, Perfect Strangers, right?
Yeah, God, man. Yeah.
Right, like Balky was supposed to be from a foreign land, but I don't know that it was a real country or anything else.
I don't remember.
I'm sure nowadays you'd be like, he's just making fun of Eastern European.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure he is, but
we've heard. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
They're making fun of Eastern Europe. They absolutely 100% were doing that. But we laughed.
Let's see. Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart, you remember from a bunch of shows. By the way, you can't ruin Jersey Shore. Jersey Shore was supposed to be stupid.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But we celebrated.
I remember.
We're celebrating stupidity.
I'm just saying, like shows like Jersey Shore from like MTV, like, right, I'm not putting you on the same level as the Kardashians. Because it was kind of recognized that they were a mess and supposed to be a hot mess.
They got the opportunity to be stupid because we had established that we will embrace stupidity in this country.
Right.
And like I said, Paris Hilton to me was kind of the beginning with Simple Life.
Right, she was. I'm just saying, like, at least with Jersey Shore, like, these were idiots. They were supposed to be idiots. It was based off of True Life. They used to have a show called True Life. And they did one, True Life, I'm sharing a house on the Jersey Shore. And that's just the way those people were. That was the genesis of this thing. Right, as opposed to watching some of the shows where people are like, I want to be like that.
Nobody wanted to be Honey Boo Boo. They just watched it because it was like, oh, God.
That's true. Nobody wants
that poor girl.
Mama June or whatever.
That poor girl is 16 now. I talked about her last week. And she's like, my name's not Honey Boo Boo. My name's Elena. Please stop calling me that. Jon Stewart, he's been on a bunch of shows.
Sure.
Started MTV back in the day, Daily Show. He's got a new show coming out on Apple TV Plus called The Problem with Jon Stewart. That'll debut on September 30th if you want to check that one out. I know he's got some trailers out there now. And also another new show tonight. You can check it out on E! Jason Biggs, Cash at Your Door. So basically the people that started Cash Cab, this is Jason Biggs. Shows up at people's front doors and gives you a shot at winning 25 G's.
Awesome.
He's probably like, I need that money myself.
Yeah. Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
New on Curiosity Stream, he allows them their riches
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
in exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimated.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the oligarchs. And World War II Normandy, an obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. An Arizona man lit multiple fires at Circle K so he can run inside and steal beer. Meanwhile, a kid bursts into mom's TV interview holding a carrot, and what it resembles is quite clear. Florida woman fired from job decides to delete hundreds of company files. Shoplifter busted wearing shirt with price tag attached did it with style. And a man named Tatman in a Batman shirt is busted robbing. It is time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cock.
All right, our top story, we go to Phoenix, where a man was arrested on multiple charges of stealing. He had a system of stealing from several Circle K locations by creating a distraction with fire. He was caught on surveillance setting fire to the trash cans inside of the convenience stores, and while the clerks were distracted, he'd make off with a handful of beer. He was eventually tracked down and arrested.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with his plan other than technology has caught up with cameras.
Exactly.
You're right. Fire will always be, if something's on fire, guaranteed you distract people.
That's a priority.
Right.
But if you have cameras, they see everything else that went on where the fire was not.
We've had this conversation several times in here. I don't know how anybody can get away with any crimes these days just based on there's cameras everywhere. Even if you covered your face while you were in there, there's cameras on the streets that'll follow you wherever you're going. There's cameras just inside of any building that you go into. There's nowhere that you can hide, man. They're everywhere.
I always try to think of how I can beat cameras I can. Yeah. I got tattoos on my hands, right? There's always something.
Exactly.
I got to wear gloves, a scuba suit. But now that I said it out loud, I can't do that.
Gloves and a scuba
suit. No, it's Thrill, dude. He said that on there.
It's the scuba
take it off.
The scuba suit bandit. He can't run fast. He has to do it backwards because
every time you go through a traffic light, more than likely you're being photographed.
Yes. Even if you don't know it.
Yeah.
Miles had surveillance video of him running a red light that he swore he didn't do.
I didn't do it. Oh.
Yeah, but you honestly did not think you did. That's the beauty of you. Man. You weren't trying to fight the system. You honestly did not believe you did what they accused you.
You go home the same way every day. I couldn't differentiate between days. So I'm like, I always stop there. There's no way I didn't stop there. I stop there every time. It'd be dangerous. Oh, God, look, I just blew right through there.
Exactly.
I'm not thinking you stopped there.
I didn't.
That's his point.
Right, I didn't. That's what I mean. I'm like, oh, I always stop there. For sure. Oh, look at me blow right through there.
Yeah, another news in Orlando.
Check, sir.
Where do I make it out to?
Right, exactly.
In Orlando, police received emergency calls from a local outlet store about a heist that had taken place. The thieves had both taken massive handfuls of Tommy Hilfiger clothing and fled out the emergency exit into a waiting Cadillac. The SUV was eventually tracked down and stopped with all the clothing inside, complete with the suspects both wearing Tommy Hilfiger shirts with the tag still attached.
Not only that, they had the security things on them.
Right.
So like those big plastic things?
Yeah.
How in the hell do you get those? How would you get that off even when you got home?
There is a way to, and
I'm sure you could YouTube it.
But don't they have something in it? Like ink or something?
No.
So like if you tried to take it off.
Some of them do. There's some that are just like a metal tag that'll go off when you go through the sensor.
How do you know? My brother, and he makes enough money that I believe he bought it.
Okay.
He said he got it on Amazon, but when I received it, it still had that plastic clip thing on it.
Yes.
I'm not gonna. It's this beautiful Ravens hoodie. I love it. It's fantastic. But I'm like, man, I don't know how to, because it kind of goes through, and then because my wife's like, dude, if it's the ink one, it's not so much about the clothing. If the clothing goes, it goes. Like, it'll be on you. Then you'll look like you shoplifted from a place for 2 goddamn weeks.
And if not, you'll take a knife and you end up slicing your hand open.
Exactly.
And end up in the ER. Trying to get the damn thing off.
I got a gift one time of the Captain America movie when it first came out, but it was still in that protective plastic case. And so, yet again, we didn't want to look like we stole the doggone thing. Nobody in my family does any of that, so we just took it out back and just
smashed it
grabbed the multi-tool and just started carving that thing open. Meanwhile, a similar crime was committed in Kentucky. Police got reports of a man that had stolen nearly $500 worth of merchandise from a local Target. After they tracked him down, they found all the stolen goods along with him. Due to him already being on probation, he was taken into custody, where they took a lovely mugshot of him wearing a Batman logo t-shirt, and news outlets, much like our own Miles Montgomery, could not resist the urge to say that he was wearing a Batman shirt while he was Robin.
Get it?
Robin.
Get it?
Because like Batman.
Get it?
A New Zealand cabinet minister is alleged to have an embarrassing episode on the local news. While conducting a live TV interview, viewers could see as her son walked into the room, interrupting the interview, and got her attention to brandish a penis-shaped carrot. The stream continues with her near wrestling her son for the phallic vegetable. She admitted that at the time she was rather upset about the incident, but can't stop laughing about it now.
Mike, the best part of this video is the look on this kid's face. He's so happy.
He's proud.
He loves
it. For headlines of that, Mike Hawkins out.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you up next. More Men's Room on the way on the Odyssey app. Men's Room happy hour up with the effing news.
Yes, indeed. It is all true, but in the meantime, We be all about this bitch for 90 seconds. So until then, do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.